Hi everyone, welcome to week 6 of Pathfinders. Can you believe that we've gone through 6 weeks of this? Just a warning, next week we are not on, we're having a little break, but then we are back for a whole new season of Pathfinders. So don't worry, we will be around. As people are coming in, let's start a little bit of a quiz. So I'm going to have a little bit of a plant-ish theme. So hi, Jaden and Becky and Mark are here. Let's go through this little quiz. As people are coming in, they can join in as they want. Let's take my face off there. We don't want that on there. So really simple, although hang on, let's go back. There's going to be one answer that you have to put your hands on your head, one answer that you have to put your hands on your hips, and one answer to touch your toes. Hi, Isabel. Did I say your dad's name? That's a tricky thing with these. Is sometimes I don't know if it's a grown-up's name or the kid's name, but hello, everybody, anyway. So let's go through this first one. I'm sorry that my writing got a bit squished up here, but what happens to a plant when it's left in the dark? We'll just do this as people are arriving. Put your hands on your head if you think it will grow big and green. Put your hands on your hips if you think it will go to sleep, and put your fingers on your toes, or bring your toes up to your hands, whichever suits, if it will turn yellow and spindly. Hi, Leo and Pippa. What do you think? Head, hips, or toes? If it's left in the dark, it will. Toes, you need to be touching those toes. I can't bend down. I'm going to have to pick mine up. So toes, it will turn yellow and spindly if it's left in the dark for too long. Next one. When a plant isn't watered, what happens to it? So head, hips, or toes. You don't have to write anything in this for one. Oh, hi, Ruby. It's brilliant to see you. Oh, I need to say hi to Squirrel as well, who'll be watching this later. And hello to everyone else that's watching this later, like Ezra, Amelia, and Eben, my kids that I make watch this. Right, so when a plant isn't watered, head, it will move towards water. Hips, it will wilt and die. Toes, it will grow faster. What are we thinking? I'm thinking hips. I think your hands should be on your hips there. Next one, which 3 things do plants need to make food? Head for water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight. Put your hands on your hips if you think it's soil, sugar, and oxygen. And fingers on your toes if you think it's water, heat, and oxygen. Oh, tricky. Hi, Percy. Hi, Isabel. Some people got their hands on their toes. I think I am going with head because they take in carbon dioxide and they get rid of oxygen, which we breathe in. So that's why I think head for that one. Let's see the next one. We're going through these quite quickly because it's just as you're coming in to get your brains thinking a little bit more about plants. Then we'll get started properly. The more water a plant has, the more it will grow. Is this statement true or false? So head, the more water, the more it will grow. Hips, too much water can kill a plant. Or toes, it's impossible to find out. There's no way you can know the answer. So head, hips, or toes? What are we going for? I'm going to go for... I don't actually have the answer, so I'm doing this with you, but I'm pretty certain that we're going to go with hips. Too much water can kill a plant. I know that because I have overwatered plants and killed them. Different plants need different amounts, so I think that it might vary a little bit as well. You might have to do a little bit of investigation to figure it out. The more warmth the plant has, the more it will grow. Is that true or false? So true for the head, the more warmth, the more it will grow. False, if it's too hot, the plant could die. That's for your hips. And toes, again, it's impossible to know. Ooh, this is tricky. Do you know what? I'm going to put one hand on my head, one hand on my hips, which makes me look very stylish. I think typically the more warmth, the more it will grow. But definitely if it's too hot, and when it gets to a certain point, it's going to wilt, isn't it? That's what happened to some of the plants in the front of my front yard. So I think it is a bit of a head and a hips one there. Next one. Why does grass grow more quickly in summer than in winter? Head, is it because it doesn't rain as much in the winter? Hips, because it's warmer in the summer. And toes, the grass is sleeping. What do we think? And if you think it's a combination, you can do that any way you want. I think, let's see. doesn't rain as much in the winter. Well, that sometimes is true. In the spring, it does rain quite a lot, but then it's definitely warmer in the summer. So I think maybe all that water and then the warmth of the summer probably helps it grow. So I'm going to go for hips, but I think head would be okay as well, because sometimes it is a bit drier in the winter. It also depends where you live, doesn't it? Because in some places it is not going to rain very much at all. Right, what job does the stem of the plant not do? Don't let this catch you out. It says not. Does it not breathe for the plant? Does it not hold the plant up? Or toes carry water and minerals to the leaves? Which one does it not do? Where are you going to put it? I'm going for head. It does not breathe for the plant. The leaves do that, don't they? So let's see if we've got another one on here. Which part of the plant makes food for the plant? The root, the leaves, the petals, head, hips, or toes? I'm going to go quite quickly for this one. This is a little bit tricky as well. I think the clue is makes food. All of them have jobs to do that's part of this, I think, but we're going to go for hips. The leaves are making the food through photosynthesis. The roots are kind of sucking up the food and nutrients from the ground as well. Oh, this is really testing my plant knowledge. This is going to be the last one. What job do the roots of the plant do? Oh, I just told you this one. So if you were listening, you should get it. Head, take up water and nutrients from the soil. Hips, make food and send it to the rest of the plants. Or toes, attract insects. Head, hips, or toes. Last one. It is the heads. Right, well, I don't know if I've warmed your brains up or tired them out from that. But yes, we're going to be talking a little bit about plants and a little bit about puzzles as well. Now, remember that important rule about having fun. This is our last one until the week after next. So definitely send your grown-ups for a cup of tea, hot chocolate even. Maybe if they've got some marshmallows, sprinkle those on top. Let them have a nice treat while you relax and join in any way that suits you. If you need to doodle, doodle. If you need to fidget, fidget, whatever suits you. So we're going to go straight into our story today. Listen carefully. You'll see a mention of a plant in this. And then I will ask you a very important question afterwards. Okay, I want to know your opinions afterwards. So let's get ready for the story. Hi everyone, and welcome to our chat show. Today, as usual, we've got two different guests on who have got a problem that they need us to solve. We need to figure out who's telling the truth, who's victim, who's villain. So I'm going to let my first guest introduce himself. Hi everyone, thanks for having me. I'm the leprechaun. You don't need to know my real name. I'm just kind of from all over really. I travel around, I mend shoes, chase rainbows, I collect shiny things. Really, that's just me. I'm just an ordinary guy. And our second guest has come to share his story. It might be a bit of a sad one for some of you, so just make sure you're very supportive. Over to you. Hi everyone, my name is Tom, and I'm here to share my story. It just goes back to the day that he ruined my life. Yeah, so I was just minding my own business, going down this country lane that I go down every day, and I spotted a leprechaun, and he was mending shoes, and he was acting a bit suspicious. To be honest, I think he'd probably stolen the shoes that he was mending. But anyway, I just thought, look, Shy Ben's getting out. Why don't I ask for his gold? Ask for him to show me the gold, and if he says yes, great. If he says no, no. So I asked him so politely, hey, Mr. Leprechaun, would it be possible to have your gold? You can show me where it is. I'll do the digging. And he said yes. He promised to show me where the gold was. That is not how it happened at all. I was just there mending shoes, minding my own business, and he came up, he grabbed me by the scruff of the neck, he looked right in my face, and he said, where's your gold? I need it right now. And he shook me, and he shook me, and he shook me, until I had to tell him where it was. It was terrifying. Is that true? Do I look like someone that would grab a leprechaun by the scruff of his neck? No, I asked him politely. He made a promise. We went down down to this field. It was covered in yellow ragwort flowers. And he went to one right near the middle. He tied a red string around it and he said, under there is my gold. And then he tricked me and broke his promise. Is that true? Yeah, I tricked him. I mean, that's my job. What does he expect when he's talking to a leprechaun? So yeah, when he went to get the spade, I tied a red string around all the other plants. Wow, this story has more twists and turns than a roller coaster. How are we going to figure this out, audience? I don't envy you. Your job of deciding. We might have to bring the lie detector out today. But anyway, he's accusing you of all sorts, that you tricked him, that you ruined his day. What have you got to say about that? Whoa, 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 look, I kept my promise. I promised to show him where the gold was, and that's what I did. I tied a string around it. I pointed to the exact place where it was. I kept my promise. Obviously, I did a few things afterwards, but that doesn't mean I didn't break my promise. And look, why should he have my gold? Well, I guess he's got a point there. According to the law, he probably hasn't broken his promise technically, but there definitely was some tricking that happened. I'm going to leave Tom to say his last words. Look, the fact of the matter is he broke his promise. He tricked me. I need that money. Look, I play golf and it rains all the time here, so I need to get a bigger house so that I can play my golf inside. And he has ruined all my chances of that. He broke his promise and he deserves to pay for it. Well, audience, it's over to you. Who is the victim? Who is the villain? Who's in the wrong here? You decide. Big question, who's the victim and who is the villain? So this is a legend from Ireland, and sometimes in stories it can be hard to work out who is a goodie, who is a baddie, who is the victim or villain, and sometimes it depends on who is telling the story. What do you think? Who thinks that the leprechaun was the good guy or the bad guy? So I've got a few people saying that they think Tom is the villain. Yeah. But a fewer people, let's see, think, oh, quite a few think that it's Tom is the villain. Let's see if any other ideas come up. Now, leprechaun, I don't know if Leo and Pippa, if that means you think that they were the bad guy or the good guy, or maybe something in between. Maybe people can be both. Who knows? So Percy says Tom as well. Oh, some people think that Tom is the good guy. I don't know, he just wanted that gold to build his big house, and he did lie in the beginning. It is tricky. It is really tricky. Elsa thinks that it's Tom. Oh, it is tricky. I think that this is one of the big skills that you can learn when you are when you're finding out about stories. Because remember I said about stories and nature being best friends, they often help interpret one or the other. Stories and kind of real life are kind of best friends as well. They help us interpret and figure out and kind of practice how we find out the truth about different things. So maybe you want to discuss that question a little bit later and tell me if you think one's a victim, one's a villain, or maybe it's a bit of both. So we've had one big question from that. Here's 3 quick questions. So just shout them out or telepathically send them, remember. And, oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot about Wolfie. Don't tell him. Wolfie, as he's currently named, but might get a new name, is downstairs. He had to go in the washing machine in the dryer today. Had a little bit of an accident. I don't know whether I should tell you. He fell in the toilet. It's true. And so he got washed and he got dried. And so he's just downstairs ready to bring up next time. But yeah, we've got Wolfie. I forgot to tell you about that. But let's get to those 3 questions. So first question is, what was the leprechaun doing when Tom met him? What was he doing? He was, it's going to be really quick. He was mending shoes, wasn't he? Second question, what was the colour of the string that the leprechaun tied around the flower? It was red. Well done if you got that. And the last question, this is important. What was the name of the plant that the field was full of? Because this is what we're going to be talking about a little bit. Anyone here what it was called? This is a tricky question. I'll be very, very impressed if anyone gets this. I am going to give you a few moments. Don't rewind. If you're watching this afterwards, try and find out. Just see if you can remember. Oh, Percy. And wow, there's a lot of people getting this. I thought this would be a bit too tricky. Look at that. Yep. Oh, do you know why? I know why. Because you've got that piece of paper and it says ragwort seed on it, doesn't it? Olivia, is that what you did to find that out? I forgot about that. So if you have got the piece of paper, it does have a ragwort seed on. So that was a big clue. Ragwort is considered a weed by lots of people. So I went a bit of a nature walk and to help talk about weeds and what really makes a weed. Yeah, Olivia, I knew that was why you managed it. That was very good. Good initiative. So I'm going to show you the nature walk that I went on with my youngest son, and then we're going to have a little bit of some moving around after that. Welcome to our nature walk. So we've come somewhere a little bit different. Sometimes it's nice on nature walks to go to the same place each time and see how it's changed. Other times it's nice to go somewhere completely different. Now, what makes something a weed? Well, the strange thing is that anything can be a weed, because a weed basically means a plant that's growing in a place that it shouldn't. But who decides whether something should or shouldn't grow there? It's a tricky question. So imagine you live on a street with lots of lovely front gardens, and in your house you might think, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to let dandelions grow. I'm going to let them cover my lawn so that I can get lots of bees and butterflies come in and pollinating them. It's going to be beautiful. When I open up my curtains, I'll just see this lovely lawn of yellow, and then when they start to turn into seeds, I can blow them around. It'll be brilliant. Your neighbour might have a very different opinion. I know people who do not want any dandelions in their lawn at all. They'll dig them out, they'll spray them with weed killer, they'll constantly mow their lawn so it's all the same length, and they just want it to look as green as possible. So for some people, a dandelion is a weed, and for some people it isn't. It can be tricky because a lot of it depends on people's opinion or the purpose of the ground that's there. I guess in some ways it's about control, isn't it? What you want to control and why you want to control it. There are positive reasons for controlling something, and there are negative reasons. In the story we had earlier, it mentioned a field of ragwort. This is what that looks like. A lot of people think this plant is a weed. It spreads quite a lot, and it's quite a hardy plant, so once it's there it can be really difficult to get rid of it. It is, however, a great habitat for lots of plants. You'll see cinnabar moth caterpillars on it a lot because it's their food supply, but a lot of animals will use this to feed from and to live in. But it's a big problem for farmers. It actually can be poisonous to livestock. It can be so dangerous to animals like horses that the government has even set out lots of guidance about how you stop it from taking over and controlling it. So this wood behind me looks a little bit dry and lifeless, but when you look down you can see lots of plants starting to grow, and we've spotted a lot of little nettles growing. Nettles are a good example of something that some people consider a weed. Nettles can do great things for you, they're useful plants, but they can kind of take over a little bit. They can be a little bit invasive, which means they invade and take over, almost like an army invading a land. And that can stop other plants from being able to grow. If they're taking all of the nutrients from the soil, if they're blocking the sun from coming down, then other plants can't grow. So that might be one good reason why some people might want to control certain weeds. possibly negative reason for controlling weeds is because of how you might want things to look. Like those lawns earlier on that I was talking about. You might want your garden to look a certain way, your streets to look a certain way. And what you need to do is balance how important that is with what you're going to be controlling and what you might be destroying. But it can be a bit tricky to figure it out. Our story earlier talked about a puzzle that needed to be solved, so I decided to set one up for my youngest. Here I am tying some fabric onto different trees, and then I used flour to make some arrows. He wasn't supposed to peek, but he did a little bit, and then he just had to follow the arrows to see if he could find all the different pieces of fabric. Just stopping for some lunch, and we're going to show you the treasures that we found, because speaking of puzzles, nature gives us lots of puzzles. So my son wants to figure out what these are. This is a treasure that he found. This is the treasure that I found on part of the riverbed that had dried up. So these are almost like a big puzzle to figure out, do any of them go together? Where are they from? They're going to tell me a little bit of history, because history really is another big puzzle where you just put a lot of clues together. There are lots of puzzles in nature, aren't there, Eben?
Yeah.
What puzzles did we find, Eben? We found some unusual, what was it that we found? The little black balls on the floor.
Poo.
We found some different type of poo, didn't we? That we wanted to figure out what that was from, and we found some footprints that maybe go with the poo. What do we think they might be?
Rabbit.
Rabbits, could be.
Oh, outside.
What was on the outside?
Floppy.
Footprints. We found a lot of footprints, didn't we?
Whoa.
What? Dinosaur footprints? So that's another puzzle. Is there a dinosaur lurking somewhere out here?
Yeah.
Who knows? Do you know what I want to find out, Eben? If there's anywhere that sells cake around here. I'm sorry about the mute before. I was telling the most amazing jokes to fill in time while I was getting the right video, and you missed it, but believe me, they were amazing. So weeds, ragworts, dandelions, lots of things to think about there. What actually makes something a weed isn't really anything to do with the plant itself, but it's more to do with what we want the plant to do or where we want it to grow. And someone's just said rabbits make a lot of poo. They do. We found a lot. Yeah. So one reason that ragwort and dandelions are known to be weeds or invasive is because they have a lot of seeds, and those seeds, remember when you blow on a dandelion clock, as you call it, they blow all over the place. So the way that seeds disperse can sometimes impact how invasive they're going to be, how much they're going to take over. So we're going to play a little game. I've got some pieces of paper here that have different ways that plants disperse their seeds, spread out their seeds. So I'm going to pick one, and then you're going to act it out. Now, I can't see it. I've got to trust that you're doing it. Grown-ups, this is your time to put down the cups of tea, the hot chocolate, wake them up if they're having a little snooze on the sofa, and they need to join in this as well. So I'm going to pick one. My eyes are closed. I'm going to pick this one. And, oh, this one's quite a good one. Type of seed dispersal shaking, like poppy head. So let's see everybody shaking. Everybody shaking, just like some seeds do, to spread out. So shake it like a Polaroid picture. There we go. Now think about how far that would go. It'd probably land around the plant, so it might not be too invasive. Right, let's see. Next one. I'll close my eyes again, make it fair. And let's pick this one. Oh, bursting. How could you act that out? Bursting, like pea pods, pop open. Anyone want to see if they could do bursting? Yes, someone's asking how long is left. Am I boring you that much? I'm very sorry. There's going to be about 5 minutes left, okay? We won't keep you for too long. Might be a bit longer because I've got lots of crafts to show. So bursting. Can we have some people bursting around the room? Brilliant. All right. Okay, pick one more. My eyes are closed. Let's see. Oh, I like this one. Right, drop and roll, like one of my favorites, conkers. That's another way of spreading. If you're allowed to jump off the sofa, this might be a good time to do it. But check, please, because you might not be allowed to. So drop and roll. You need to drop to the ground and roll around. Now, if you were on if this tree was on a hill, think how far it would roll. And that could be quite good, but you don't really tend to get invasive trees because it does take a lot for them to grow. Right, last one. Well, no, we've got a couple more. Let's see. My eyes are closed. Oh, water. So, don't know how you could act this out. Have a think about it. So, water, like a coconut, which is a seed, would kind of float along the water. I don't know, maybe we can do this for water. Okay. Water, or someone's doing it off a chair. Please be careful. This is my disclaimer. If you have any accidents, dropping and rolling like conker seeds, you cannot sue me. I have no money. Don't do it. Right. Next one. Oh, now. Oh, I don't know if I want to do this one. Animal carrying. There are a couple of different ways that animals can spread seeds. Like if you look here, it's got a bit of that seed attached to it. There is another way that they can transport seeds, but I don't know if I want you to act that out. But I don't know how you could act that out. I'm not too sure. Ooh, have a think about that one. That one's tricky. Right. One of these I'm hoping I don't pick because it is a little bit disgusting. I did mention it earlier on, but we'll see. Okay, maybe we'll do it anyway. It is the last one. Let's see. Oh, no, I got it. Animals eating. So you could act out the eating. If you're like my kids, you might want to act out what happens at the other end when the seed comes out. That's another way of seeds being dispersed. The birds eat it and then they poop it out in different places. So see if you can act out the bird flying around. Let's maybe not do the bit where the seed comes out. And the last one is the wind. So I just want you to roll around, blown by the wind. If it's a windy day, they're going to spread far. If you don't get much wind, you are going to have your garden taken over by those seeds. Brilliant. Now, someone suggesting eat someone. I don't think eating someone, but maybe eat a snack might be a good way of acting that one out. Right, we're going to go straight into our show and tell. So remember, if you've got some crafts, some nature videos, anything that you've done related to what we've been doing in Pathfinders, then you can either email it to homeed@twinkle.co.uk or get your grown-ups need to email it, or you can have your grown-up put it in the Facebook group as well. So I'm going to show you some of the amazing things that I have seen this week. Look at this that Joseph and Evie have done. We've got loads of stuff. They also did some puzzles as well. Brilliant. Next, we've got Jack, who I like this because not only did he take the idea of doing snowdrops, but he turned it into something really useful as well. So he has recycled things to make a nice pencil pot. Love it. This one was a brilliant idea. So this family decided to do thing about when the worm eats up the soil, and then why are we talking about poop so much? I don't know. And then poop it out at the other end. And so they kind of did the mushing up, and then were thinking to make a worm. Instead, they ended up making a Rapunzel braid, which is great. I like it when the things that we do here just extend into lots of other things. Look at Lulamoon's worm. She actually kept on building it, and it was longer than she is tall. So that's amazing. Well done, Lulamoon. And Lily, look, I particularly like the snowdrops. I like the worms, but this snowdrop picture is really beautiful. I really love the swirls in the background. Beautiful. And Astrid, she has been very busy. So they've got a geode that they've done. They've got weaving. They've got I think this must be the enchanted fairyland. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, do you want to see my craft? A big shout of, yes, Rachel, we want to see it. Are you ready? Drum roll. Oh, it's here. It doesn't look like much today, does it? let me show you what it is. I thought we could do puzzles this week, and maybe at home this week, you can make a puzzle. So this is the way that I made a puzzle. I got myself a bit of cardboard out the recycling bin, and I was thinking about the stories that we'd had, and this was the week when we were doing about the earthworms and kind of mythical beasts, and I decided to do a dragon for mine. So I just sketched it out. We're not trying to be perfect with this. Then I just started colouring in. Now, one thing you don't have to do when you're colouring in is you don't have to get everything perfect. You can think about different ways of colouring in to get the right texture and so on. So you can kind of see how I've almost done squiggles to try and get the scales across. If someone's saying that I didn't show their picture, I'll be able to do that next week, next time, don't worry. I just can't fit everything in. And I use different colours as well. I've got some dark reds and some oranges, and I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to get a good impression. So there was my dragon that I did, and then I turned it into a puzzle. Really simple, lots of straight lines. The smaller you do it, the more difficult they're going to be. And this is it being put together. So really, really simple, okay? That's what you can do this week. You can make a puzzle any way you want. It could be outside, like I did with my little boy, and we tied a bit like in the story, tied string around things. It could be a craft, like making one of these puzzles. It could be on a video game. I admit I don't know much about Minecraft and so on, but I'm pretty certain you can make mazes or some kind of puzzle. You could even do riddles. You can use words to have puzzles. So lots of different ways that you can do that. All right. So Ruby says she loves my dragon. Thank you so much. It was a bit hard actually to cut it up, but I took some photos of it so that I knew what it would look like as well. So that's a tip. If you do a lovely picture for your jigsaw, you might want to take a photo of it before you cut it up. All right. So we are going to end with our blessing for the road, a little kind of wish for you. We are not on next week. I'm having a little break, but then we are back, and we're going to be back with some spring sessions. The first one is going to be all about wolves in honor of Wolfie, and we're going to get Wolfie sent out that week as well. But here we go. I'm going to read this, and then I'm going to say goodbye. May the paths you explore be full of wonder, and the skies you play under be peaceful. May the treasures you find be plentiful, and the mysteries you unfold be many. Happy exploring, everybody. Have a great week.